All right, everybody. Welcome to the live well here at Fish North Georgia this beautiful Thursday night. We are so glad you guys can join us. Got a great show in store for you. We're going to have our buddy Nick Brown from the NPFL join us here in a little while. And we're going to talk about summertime patterns and also talk about a tournament that the NPFL is throwing. It's Potit. I believe I said his name, Shad Potit, dealing with ALS. It's a pretty cool tournament. I've read a little bit up on it. We're going to talk about that. And of course, as you know, the way this show works, we're going to talk about anything you guys want to talk about. So nothing's off limit. You got a question? Hey, throw it out there. We're going to do our best to help you catch more fish. I think I should be on the other side of the camera listening to this and everything. So let's go ahead and let's knock out our business real quick so that when we get going, we get going. Of course, first, we always start off with the buddies at Sonar Pros. Trent and the guys over there, 770-530-4505 off Highway 369. If you're watching any of the Elite Series stuff, listen, it seems like half that field has had their boats rigged by Trent and the guys over at Sonar Pros. So if you want yours done right, get it over there to Trent and the guys. So we appreciate them. And of course, we got our buddy Kevin with Lipsticker Fishing, 678-459-8419. Kevin at lipstickerfishing.com, his patreon.com/Lipsticker Fishing. And next week, if we set it up right, we were going to do it this week, but I can't. But next week on his live, I will be fishing with Kevin. So that ought to be a good time right there. So, hey, you get the knowledge of Kevin and this beautiful mug right here to watch right there. Watch how I can't fish. So anyway, go check him out. And then we got our buddies with Evolve Rod Sleeve, the best rod sleeve on the market, evolvefishing.com, or you can get them here at Fish North Georgia. They are the best. I'm telling you right now, they float, number one. And so if you're a fool and knock it off, hey, you can turn right around and get that thing on your boat. But also the best feature about them is the hooks don't stay hooked in there, and they got a lot of safety features. So we appreciate the guys at Evolve. And with all the money we spend on expensive lures, you need the best plug knocker on the market. And that's the Money Saver Lure Retriever. We've got them here at Fish North Georgia. All the colors. This thing shoots through the water like a torpedo. There is nothing better, I believe, out there. The design is right. And so if you want them, come in the shop and check them out. I'll show them to you. Anytime somebody comes in and looks at them, they always walk out with one. So the Money Saver Lure Retriever, Richard Key, again, another NPFL angler. We appreciate them. And, of course, we got our buddy Bill Payne. If you want to fish with a legend and you're on Lake Allatoona, you need to go to Bill Payne's with Bill Payne's Guide Service, 706-280-2305. He also does seasonal smallmouth trips. And he also does electronic trips. If you want to learn how to do your electronics just right, Bill's the guy for you. And if you're on Lake Lanier, Brooks Anderson Fishing. Check him out on his YouTube at Brooks Anderson Fishing, or go to his website, brooksandersonfishing.com. One of the hot young anglers that also guides on Lanier. Spotted bass, where they're at, why they're there, and how to catch them. And if you got a younger angler, Brooks loves taking out younger anglers and getting their little fishing careers started, especially if they're high school, college. He's one of the best out there, and so we appreciate Brooks. And then, of course, we got Fishers of Hope. Now, guys, this is the one I tell you need to be involved with these guys. Check them out on Facebook, Fishers of Hope. If you want to get in touch with them, it's Fishers of Hope Ministry at gmail.com. Their mission, to glorify God, be servants of his word, to bring those in need to peace and hope that only he can bring. They throw tournaments for those in need. So if you got a need, hey, maybe take it out. Might be something they can help you out with. But I encourage you to get involved with them. You know, just it's going to make your heart feel better when you can help out other people. And if you can do it through fishing, that's the way to go. And, of course, behind me, we got our buddies, Turner Tires, 706-253-3339 in Jasper, Georgia. Wheels, tires, alignment, whatever you got right there. It's a great family-owned business. Brock and the guys, they fish. They're just like us. And I encourage you, people are doing it now. Take your vehicle up there, real fast turnaround, and they're great people. Support your local tire shops. You can take it to one of them chains. But hey, go help out somebody local right there. And then, listen, if you want to advertise your company, let us see how we can help you reach more eyeballs, help grow your business, and, you know, put your eyes in front of a really loyal fan base that, quite frankly, you know, if we have a good suggestion, Tony, pretty much people listen to it and go about. We ain't going to steer you wrong.
That's right.
But if we can put your company and help you grow, come advertise with us. You can email me, Danny@fngo.com, and we'll see what we can work up for you. All right. And so beside me to my right, I got my buddy Ken Pruitt, no relation.
Not at all.
But we act the same. And then joining us now, I see him in there. Yep. We got our buddy Nick Brown with the NPFL. How you doing out there?
What's up, fellas? Can you hear me all right?
It seems it's a little bit fuzzy. The volume is a little bit fuzzy. Yeah, your mic's coming in a little fuzzy, a little hot.
How about that? Is that any better?
Is that any better, Tony?
Not really.
It's not.
No,
Not
it's
really?
still real
Are you-
fuzzy.
It's real fuzzy. I think you're getting some back feed. Is that me talking?
Yeah, I don't
barely
know.
hear him. So
I can.
Can-
I
you
think.
can- you can barely hear me?
yeah, I can
What-
barely hear him.
Yeah, and when I can hear you, but when you come through, it's very robotic sounding. It's
Oh, I
distorted.
got you.
Yeah, so
gotcha.
I don't know how your Wi-Fi connection is. While you're working on that, I'm gonna say hello to everybody. Eddie Hudson, John G. Wilson, Doc Holliday, Kyle Brown, John Aldridge, T. Toms. Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback. We're getting a lot of feedback. So you might have to close him off for a second.
All right.
And I gave you his phone number.
Yep.
Maybe you can give him a call and see if y'all can get that squared away on that. So while they're getting Nick squared away with that, with his mic and everything, we're gonna start the talk. Ken is listen, he's one of my favorite guys out there. And I love when I can get him up here. You've been gone a while.
Since November.
Since November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of boat shows.
A lot of boats. So you're with Bass Cat.
Yep.
So you represent Bass Cat. Tell me a little bit, and I think Nick is a Bass Cat guy as well. So for those that want to know, sell me on a Bass Cat.
If you want the honestly, I bought my boat in a deer stand in South Georgia, but I studied every single boat. And I kind of knew Rick Pierce from back 30 years ago. We met. Super nice guy. But the quality and what he thinks and how he thinks through everything and puts it into that boat is phenomenal. And so all you got to do is go to Bass Cat on YouTube and you'll see all his videos.
Yeah.
And you can see why he puts things in certain places. And they're coming out with a new links with a center rod tackle storage.
Is that the one I saw over at Red Crest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like that's nice.
Typically they release those at like the dealer meetings and stuff like that, but they wanted to let everybody see it in advance.
Yeah.
And it's got all the nice tackle storage organized, but quality of the boat, the customer service, you need anything, you get one. I know everybody says you're like family, but you truly are like family.
That's pretty good because a lot of companies want your money and they want you out of there.
Well, I mean, this one, you see the repeat buyers once people get one.
Yeah.
And we do that owners tournament every year. This year it got canceled, but we're going to redo it in the fall. But the amount of people that show up, he gives away a brand new boat just on a drawing. And a lot of cool stuff happens at those things.
What's the odds of me getting a boat?
You
Like for free,
drive to
man.
Arkansas and
Like for free.
Read your book.
Read your book.
Bass Cat, let me tell you what I will do for you. I need a boat. I'll put it on my TV show. I'll make videos for you. I will be the best brand ambassador you've ever seen. I don't even have to have top of the line, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah.
T. Toms caught the Real American Road Trip episode last night. Love that series. John G watched it. Listen, we had a lot of fun. We're getting ready to start filming season 3. All right. And I think we're going to be doing an episode in Puerto Rico.
That'd be good.
Puerto Rico. So how much trouble can I get in Puerto Rico? We'll find out, but I will do it. Now, let's pull Nick back up, see if we got you fixed now. Try it again.
Is that any better? How's
That's
that?
better.
Yeah.
That is better.
Yeah, there we
That
go.
is better. So where are you at tonight?
I'm actually in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. Came down a day or so ago to pick up my boat. I had a few things done to it, and then just get my stuff organized to head up to Douglas next week or this
The
weekend.
Douglas out there. Yeah. So that's coming up. So far, let me ask you this question. The last time you were on here was I guess the season hadn't started when you were on the last time. And we had talked about the changes and everything. So kind of give me your take so far on the NPFL season with the no forward facing sonar and everything. What do you think?
Man, I kind of like it. I'm open both ways. I like using it. I've got it on my boat. I've got 2 of them on my boat and a 360. We have to cap them off when we get ready to fish, but I really like it. And if you look at the weights, I think the weights are super comparable to, to what the guys would have had with forward facing sonar. Now we've hit them just right pre-spawn, both of them, pre-spawn to spawn. So Santee Cooper was awesome. That was a smash fest. I think Douglas was just as good as anybody could have did. Hackney won that one. And I think even with forward facing sonar, I don't know if it'd have been much better.
Yeah, no, that is one thing I can say from watching. Of course, once we get to know you guys, it makes watching it a lot better. Really, the drop off is not there. You're absolutely right. The weights are comparable. Now, what's going to happen if the NPFL ever goes to, what is it, Sabine that the elites are on? Yeah. My Lord, have you watched any of that?
What are you talking about? Half the NPFL is there.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
That's very true.
That is very true. But I tell you what, to go from Lake Fork, where everybody's catching 30 pounds a day, to, what is it, 12 pounds is leading after day one?
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you this, as a viewer, we got somebody, Marble Hill's finest. We got the ambulance going up the road. As a viewer from that perspective, watching Lake Fork and now watching the Sabine, to you, are you watching it just like, hey, it's a skill, I like it no matter what they're catching, or do you like the big weights compared to the struggle they're on?
Man, I live on Lake Fork. I live on Lake Fork. So, I live within 2 minutes. Yeah, I live within 2 minutes of the ramp. So, it's one of my favorite lakes in the country, and it's really not second to none on any of them. I mean, it's got its moments, but I've also fished the Sabine River, and I know what that thing's about too. And I know what those guys were facing going down there this week. We had a ton of rain leading up to that, and it's really kind of messed things up, I think, a little bit, dirty things up. But it's kind of fun to see if the I hate to say it, but I'm almost against the scopers in those ones, because I still want to see these that are willing to go down the bank and pitch and flip and power fish. I want to see those guys catch them down there. But man, it's a slow go between catches.
Yeah, I saw Jim Wright in the comment section says, I like the struggle, helps me learn. I watched a good bit of it today, and it seemed like everybody they were flipping shallow. Though, and of course, hell, shallow is like, how far up is that river? It's up some, right? So they're fishing places they wouldn't normally get to fish.
Yeah, but it's good too, because with the water being high, I think they've got a little hard bottom because that stuff's been dry, and the rest of that thing is pretty filthy. So some of that fresh stuff's got a little harder bottom in it. So I think that's what a lot of them guys are chasing, seems like.
Yeah, and it will be curious because we follow like Emil and Paul and some of the guys we know that are local fishing, and that's a totally different world than Lake Lanier or Hartwell or anything like that. So it's kind of interesting to see how they connect those dots, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I want to make sure, just in case the good Lord comes back or something, I don't know, or something happens with the thing, you guys at the NPFL have a special tournament that's going on, and you kind of reached out to me about that, and I want to make sure we talk about that before we get into everything else so that we got it covered. So for those that haven't watched, kind of tell me about this little special event that the NPFL is doing.
So yeah, I kind of reached out to you on May 21st, which is next Wednesday. We've got a tournament that we're putting on for one of our anglers, Chad Potit. He's been diagnosed with ALS, and he's a great dude, and always friendly. But we're just trying to help him out. He's got some medical treatments and some bills that are coming up, and as a group and as a family, and basically, NPFL is like a big bass club. Everybody's willing to help everybody out when there's an issue. And they've set up this little tournament for next Wednesday. You can go on the NPFL website. You can check it out on the Facebook page or on the website. They're going to try and put 2 anglers per boat. We've got a bunch of anglers. So instead of you just buying in and saying, okay, I want to fish with Patrick, I want to fish with John, I want to fish, myself, they're going to put names in a hat, and you're going to draw out. So you don't know who you're going to get. So basically, you're throwing $100 a person in the boat, or $200 in the boat, basically, with the 2 guys. And you're getting an opportunity to go out for, 4 hours with some of the country's best guys and just cut up and have a good time and fish and have a little derby. And I'm sure there'll be some giveaway stuff and things like that come to the end, maybe some raffle stuff. But I think it'll be fun. These guys it's a whole different feel when you're at an NPFL event. And if you're not coming out to that tournament, you can get on there and you can donate. They take in straight donations if you can't make it. And you can also, come out to the weigh-ins and stuff on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and check it out. There's usually lots going on, and come see what it's like out there.
So what you're saying is I can go on the NPFL website, I can sign up, and I'm going to get the fish with the NPFL Pro. I don't know which one yet, but I will be able to do that. Now, if
Yep,
you guys
100%.
if you guys get more than that, can somebody bring their own boat and fish by themselves?
I think they're keeping it with the NPFL anglers. I know it's filling
Okay,
up.
okay.
I know they have quite. I don't know how many numbers we have. I think they want to keep it with the NPFL anglers, but they're going to do their best to make sure everybody gets in the boat and we, get out on the water. So
That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it's only about from here. It's only about a 3.5, 4 hour drive, depending on where you live in Atlanta. So
It's on Cherokee, right?
Yep. Mhm.
That's not bad.
Just
Yeah.
up there by Knoxville.
I'd like to get drawn with Patrick Walters, and I would wear the tightest, shortest pair of shorts I own, so that any pictures and all that, they can stare at my ass and Patrick's ass all day long, like that. You're going to be
Yeah.
fishing it though.
me, oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
100%.
as soon as they announced it, I jumped on there and signed up.
We got to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on a Wednesday,
You
right?
got it's on, dude. It's on a Wednesday. What else are you gonna do on a Wednesday for a half a day?
That's
I mean,
what I'm saying.
you could buzz up. We don't even start fishing until I think we're gonna start at like 7. The time's on there, so you literally could leave like at 4 from where you're at and be up there on time to fish. So
All right. So you know what? We might look into that. Hell, I ain't got nothing going on at the shop on Wednesday. It's a slow day.
Yeah.
And I go up there and just,
no, pick up a truckload of guys. I think they ask you guys to bring a PDF because not everybody's got 2 or 3 life jackets. And if you have a favorite rod or something, bring it. I'm sure if you don't, or if somebody's going to fly in or something short notice, I mean, I'll loan my stuff to somebody. I don't care. So it's all for a good cause.
okay. Well, let's say I'm thinking about it. What kind of fishing's going on Cherokee right now? What should I bring if I get in the tournament?
So those lakes have been raising a little bit. They've got some water coming into them. They're coming up for summer pool, and I would say they're post spawn, fry garter, shad spawn starting off. I think it's going to be a little bit of mix of everything up there. Shad spawn fishing, or crawfish. They do have smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, all 3 in both of those lakes up there. So it's going to be whether you're a chatterbaiter or a square biller or you like throwing top waters. But I think it's going to be. From the way I understand it, I don't have a ton of experience on Cherokee, but I understand the top water bite up around that place is pretty phenomenal most of the time. I think it's like Hartwell, where you can go just about anywhere and just catch it.
That sounds like a good time to me. And then, so you said, how long are you fishing?
I believe you'll fish for 4 hours. I think they're going to try and get it done around noonish. That way they can get back. Yep.
So Alexa,
This is our off day. So it's our. Sorry about that. There's a little bit of delay because of the internet, but it's our off day on Wednesday. So I think they're trying to get us done and out and get all of our stuff done so we can all get back to the house and get ready to go for tournament day.
So if any of you guys in Georgia want to consider this, and you might want to carpool or something like that, hit me up. Let's see if we might can do that, because I can lay out on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
That would be a good time. And if Big Al and Paul, all them guys going to be up there?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, they're going to showcase it.
Okay, I got to see if I can get on stage and make Paul Benson actually smile during a weigh-in. He's so sick, man. He is business.
Yeah, Paul's kind of heading this thing up. He's kind of the one that put out the feelers on this thing and put an all hands on deck bulletin out there for us to do this. So he's kind of railroading this thing for everybody.
Okay, well, if any of you guys are interested in this, throw me a message on Facebook at Danny Pruitt, and let's see if maybe we can get a few guys to get in there, and we'll sign up and get up there. And again, I promise you, I'll take 2 pairs of shorts, and if I get drawn with Patrick Walters, I will have my gym shorts from the 8th grade that you can take my pulse through, and I'll get on the boat with him. Huh? We'll win that son of a gun. But anyway, I think that's pretty cool. What are you laughing at?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Listen, for a good cause, I'll wear a thong. I'll wear a thong during that thing. Now, but seriously, the cool thing, and you mentioned it about the NPFL, take all the rule change and all that side. It's always been kind of a family-run tournament trail, and that's kind of what draws a lot of guys to it being it been what we always call the common man guy. And I don't know if common man is the right word for it, but you know what I'm saying? It is put together like a family. And to be able to throw a tournament for one of your anglers in such short notice, and it is kind of short notice, but a special thing like that, and invite the community to be able to do that, that's a pretty cool thing.
Absolutely. I mean, it don't matter if you're a great fisherman, if you got kids that can ditch or whatever. I mean, that's, and bow out of school or whatever. I mean, what an opportunity to go out. A lot of these guys haven't even been on the lake this year. So they're going to go out there and they're going to be feeling it out and breaking it down. And what a way to go out with some guys that ain't seen the lake and Lord knows how long and watch them put it together. And when we weigh the fish, I believe the rules say we're going to weigh 3 fish, but I think each individual has to weigh one. So the pro's going to make dang sure you're catching them. So
now my ass will get stuck with Robleski. Yeah, I want to get stuck with somebody I've never fished. Listen, I fished with Rob before. Rob, I love you if you watch this, and I have a good time. So anyway, I'm going to look into that. But again, where can they sign up for this if they're interested in doing it, or make a donation?
They can go to the National Professional Fishing League. You can go to the Facebook page or the regular website. You can go on there. There's links. It's posted right up on the top of it. You can click on that link. It'll take you right where you need to go. They're real professional about how they set their stuff up, and it's pretty easy to figure out where you need to go. If you can't make it, I mean, I hope we got too many. I really do, and we figure something else, or we have to find boats. I don't care. The more the merrier. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be an opportunity for you guys to not just show up to weigh in and watch guys fish, but to actually get out on the boat, stand in the parking lot, and cut up and have a good time. So, I think I would fish it if I wasn't in it.
Well, I understand. If I draw you, can I dip in the boat? Huh? I mean, listen.
Yeah, just no dip and die. Yeah, you can dip all you want, just no dip and die.
Listen, no, I'm just like, I'm talking about like Copenhagen. Like I can't fish 4 hours without a dip in. I'd die. I know it's an addiction. I'm sorry, but that is a really cool thing you guys are doing, and kudos. And I know there's a good cause behind it, but kudos on involving the public, because that's like, I mean, what other leagues doing that? Nobody does stuff like that. So what you looking at?
I was looking at the website.
You pulled up the website and all that?
Yeah. You just go out there and look for the info, and it's a great way to learn.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And again, it's no forward facing sonar. Those rules still apply, right? Or are you gonna be allowed to
I believe so, because most of us are going to be locked out all week. I don't think they're going to want us to pull our stuff off and start over. So it's probably going to be a no forward facing, which is even better for the guy in the back of the boat that's fishing with us, because you're not going to be out there in the abyss running around, or standing up there shoulder to shoulder. So
I think that'd be a good
and get an opportunity to ride in all some of the new best equipment. I run a new bass cap, and I talked to Ken a lot at the Classic. We spent 3 days together up there.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you this, and he spoke so highly of the time y'all had together before we got on the show tonight. He said you were a good time. So maybe I get drawn with you, and then we just have a good time.
Yeah.
I don't care if we catch some fish, but it is a good opportunity. And I mean, how many other chances are you going to be able to get on a pro's boat without having to pay them, like if they're a guide, doing that? And for, what'd you say, $100 an angler? So the NPFL guy's throwing 100 in, and you throw 100 in, or 200. It doesn't matter to me, but.
Right. Yeah. It's $100 an angler. You can donate as much as you want, but it's $100 an angler. And I mean, to fish with most of us, if you wanted to book a guide trip with us, most of us are going to be anywhere from $500 to $1,000, depending on what lake we take you to and what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So
that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
that's a damn deal.
What happens on that boat stays on that boat.
Hey, even better.
You're gonna learn some stuff on that.
Do we have to sign like a can't tell anything, no technique kind of clause thing, a little waiver saying we won't come burn spots and stuff like that? But no, in all seriousness, I think that would be good. I think I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, sure.
You gonna lay out of work and go do it?
I might get sick.
You might get sick. Tony, can you get sick next Wednesday?
I'm already feeling it.
All right, then. We'll see that. But listen, you guys, I encourage you. And again, if there's a couple of you that want to do it and you want to carpool or something, shoot me a message at on Facebook, and we'll set that out. T. Tom said, is there a website with info? So the NPFL their website. You just went on it.
You can go on Facebook too.
You can go to Facebook too. Click on the links, and that will work you straight through that. I think it'd be, listen, just a chance to get the fish with some of these guys. And if I got Drew Cook, I'd have some of that Bush Peach Light in there. I don't know what the rules are on Cherokee Lake, but we could hide that stuff. So anyway, all right, very cool.
That boy is going to be out of bush lights by the time he leaves the Sabine River.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Where did Drew end up today? He didn't have a great day, did he?
He was down there.
He was down there a little bit. We love you, Drew. You know we love you here like that. But, hey, some days are like that.
But all those guys are 1 or 2 fish away. So
that's what he said. He said if you can go into day 2 and catch a 2-pounder, you can get up above the cut line. If you just all you can do is catch a 2, maybe a 3-pounder, and that's going to change everything in that. And because the weights, we got a lake over here called Cedar Creek, and I'm telling you, you could throw dynamite in that lake, and the best 5 you're going to do is 6 pounds. It's awful. So I can equate it, but you got some of the best anglers in the world. Them guys are really having to work hard for the fish that they're catching.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Somebody was having a cull one that was 14 ounces today. I mean, they had a keeper that was 14 ounces and they had to try to cull it, and they were having problems culling it. So with that, so again, guys, go to the NPFL, go to their Facebook page, whatever, click on that link and get involved, because you're doing it for a good cause. Because a lot of you guys talk very highly of Chad. And Ron says Drew's in 29th with 712. So he moved up. But it's a good cause. It's a chance for $100. And if you're one of the first however many, you're guaranteed a spot, right? If you sign up early enough, you're guaranteed to fish with the NPFL angler.
Yeah, 100%. I think they had a pretty good chunk yesterday when I talked to Al. They were signed up already. They were still having their feelers out because they literally just announced this like 3 days ago. I mean, it ain't been very long. So
yeah. Awesome opportunity. The NPFL, the guys over there, we love them. Big Al, and all the group. But listen, you got a chance to fish with some of the best out there, and you can learn for $100.
Yeah.
So go ahead and put your $100 in. And from North Georgia, 2.5, 3 hour drive, not that far. They're going to be done about lunchtime. You can be home time to watch the Braves.
Yeah.
So very cool thing. I appreciate you reaching out to ask us to talk about it. And I was like, why don't you just come on the show and let's talk about it there. And so I appreciate you coming on tonight doing that. The tournament, John, is next Wednesday, the 21st, you said? Or
yes.
22nd?
21st.
So it's okay. So it's next Wednesday. So very cool event like that. If enough of you guys want to go, we can all get in. We'll just go up there and get us an Airbnb and just we'll make it a Fish North Georgia kind of fun trip. How about that? We'll do the show Tuesday night, fly up there.
Yeah.
Not fly, drive up there.
Yeah.
Nick Brown says great cause and great opportunity. So absolutely. Absolutely. So appreciate the NPFL doing that. And you guys get involved with this. That'd be a very cool opportunity. Now, I told you once we talked about that, one of the things that we got going on here, and we've been kind of talking, we're in this post-spawn funk here in North Georgia. So, but everybody's starting to prep for summertime. It won't be long, even though we've been cool for a while. The heat's coming and all that. You live out in Texas, so I know you're used to the heat and everything. But kind of guide us through, whether it be on a largemouth lake, spotted bass lake, whatever. How does your mindset kind of change going into the post-spawn and then into the summer?
So, I mean, I absolutely love to sight fish. I love to, even catching fry garters and stuff, but usually, you can't get no weight on them. But once all that stuff's over and that water temperature starts getting in that, low 70s, 72, that's when our shad spawn out there, like on Fork, and a lot of them Texas lakes kick off. And you can, chase the herons. We don't chase the white cowbirds out there because we call them white liars. We pretty much only follow the herons. We pretty much follow the herons around. But, we'll start always on the shad spawn in the mornings. And then after that, we're going to run stuff that's, bank related, shallow back pocket related. We're going to look for bluegill spawns and, betters and stuff. So you remember back in the day, even before we had live scope, when we knew that the fish just backed out and started floating and doing their thing. And now we know right where to go catch them after the spawn. Back in the day, they used to always disappear from us for 2 weeks. And the shad spawn wasn't a giant thing. And then when we figured out the shad spawn was a thing, and then you could figure out how to catch them doing that, that's always good for about an hour in the morning. And that's, After that goes away, now what do you do? So, my next thing is to run bluegill beds. If it's a flipping time of year and the fish are just a little deeper and they're still hanging up there and I can power fish for them on the bank, I'm going to. Next spot's going to be the first brush piles, first standing timber, first rows of stumps and stuff in that 8 to 12 foot range. And, we go back to scoping or cranking or dragging a Carolina rig, whatever suits you, until you find out the best way to catch them. But, I'd say this time of year, it's like I said, it's shad spawn, bluegills for me. And then, I go out and look for them, either scoping, cranking, top water, and sometimes they're running top water all day. But I mean, they're looking to eat. They ain't ate for a couple of weeks. They're hungry. They're ready.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned bluegill bed. Now we've talked a lot on the show the last couple of months about herring spawn, threadfin spawn, and all that. And we've kind of mentioned a little bit about the bluegill spawn, which is cranking up here, especially this next full moon.
Yep.
We'll have bluegill spawn for the next 2 months.
Easy
2 months.
Yeah.
So what's your top baits? You pull up, you find a big bluegill bed, brim bed. What's your top techniques for going after something during that time when you can visibly see the bluegill beds?
It's going to be, it's probably going to be a yellow magic, which is one of my favorites because it's slow and they'll be pretty aggressive on it. Depending on the cover, it's going to be yellow magic. It's going to be a frog. It's going to be a wacky Cinco, everybody's favorite. Or the next thing is probably going to be a big 10-inch worm, like a red bug or a blue fleck, and fish it just on the outside edge of them beds where them bigger fish are just cruising out there looking for an opportunity to come up there and snag somebody.
What are you grinning over there for? Put the camera on. He's over when he's saying that about that. He's over just shaking his fist, going like, "Yeah."
So like when
he was, dude.
In Missouri, where I grew up, once the spawn was over and you gave it a few weeks, you could switch over to that 10-inch worm and go out to that next set of trees, and you'd catch them.
Is that?
And that's how you got your
the
bigger
10-inch
fish.
worm was what you were doing this for.
Oh yeah, because you don't hear that around here. Everybody's shaky heading and everything else.
Yeah,
but you very rarely hear somebody say throw a 10-inch worm, and you can do it.
Oh yeah,
you can even do it here.
You can do it here. Nobody does it here.
No, not that we know.
The 10-inch worm never stopped catching fish. But he said red bug. You said red bug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just depending on the lake you're on, either red bug or blue fleck. Yep.
Now is that mostly for largemouth? Because we fish for spots a lot. We got largemouth, but we fish for spots. And everybody thinks spotted bass, shaky head. How about some experience with throwing a Texas rig for spotted bass? I mean, can we still do that?
I don't know why. I don't know why not. I mean, everybody automatically, when they think of spotted bass, they switch up to a drop shot and to a shaky head. But how many of these guys are throwing mag shaky heads? They're throwing a mag trick worm on a 5/16 or a 3/8 ounce shaky. What's the difference between that and a 10-inch worm?
Hey, look at Granite Sasky in the comment section said, shh.
Yeah.
So apparently he's still throwing it right there. Dave Raleigh says, I appreciate you joining us now. He says, can't wait for frog season.
Oh.
And yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you pulled him up. And then pull up Dave Raleigh right there again. What did he say? Z-Man long shots. The reason is they look like lamprey eels and bass hate them. Hey, makes sense to me. Now, do we have lamprey eels around here?
I had never seen any, but
I don't know what the hell. We got. What are them things that stick onto you and suck on you?
leeches.
Leeches. We got leeches. So is lamprey eels something big out in Texas?
No, not. I mean, I don't. I have more snakes come off or out of fish out there than I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Small snakes and stuff. Before I actually do that, I think I see more of those eels and stuff when we get up north smallmouth fishing.
So Phil Hutchinson says lampreys are in Blue Ridge, which is only about an hour north of our shop. So there you go. I didn't know that. I learned something. Dave Raleigh in the comment sections. Can you tell us where you're from? Just I'm curious if you're from this area or if you're from out of state or something. I always like to learn where people are catching fish and they bring up something. I didn't know we had lampreys. Hell, I wouldn't even know what one looks like.
I don't have a clue.
He's up there fishing. He's up there fishing with Baron Adams.
Oh, Baron. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Vermont. Well, there you go, buddy. We appreciate you joining us tonight from Vermont. Bless your guys' heart.
So
How long is the fishing season?
is that a Potomac River thing?
So Dave, he wants to know if that's a Potomac River thing. So Nick wants to know that. David Weaver says they do have them. They are mostly very small, 4 to 6 inches long, and they stay in the creeks mostly. All right. So hell, I'm learning something. I did not know we had lamprey eels.
I had no idea.
Okay. So how about this? You said, what was that first bait you mentioned on the bluegill bed? What was it? Yellow something? What did
Yellow
you say?
magic.
Yellow magic.
Yellow magic.
Yellow magic? What is that for somebody that doesn't know what that is?
So the yellow magic originated out there in Alba, Texas. It's a topwater bait. It's like a Rico. It's a high end pop R. I throw a 1/4 ouncer and a gold IU with a little white tail, but I've caught as many. Yeah, it's a popper. It's a small popper, but it casts good. It's got a different sound to it, and you can catch some big fish on that thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you use? You go to a brim bed. What are you throwing first? Out of curiosity.
Popper is one.
Yeah.
I've done a spook in certain lakes. The other thing Tony and I were talking about was it's really the one time a year I will throw a buzz bait on the bank and then pull it off. And within a few turns, if those bluegill beds are on the right bank, you're getting hit.
Why
So
you
literally throw the buzz bait on the bank.
My ass would end up in the trees.
And then reel it into, pull it into the water and start reeling in the first few turns.
All right, pull up. Wait, what? I love these guys' YouTube names. Like, I'm very curious as how you guys
Prop
get
bait's
these.
another good one on Lanier last year, but switch out your hooks because I had 2 small hooks last year. But I had a limit in 30 minutes.
All right.
On Lanier.
Nick, give me your opinion on this comment. Laugh if you want. I'm de-shotting a small Rapala crankbait. You heard it here first. Have you ever drop shot a small crankbait?
I don't think I've ever drop shotted any kind of hard bait like that at all.
Oh, you're sitting there shaking your head like you have?
I have.
What did it work?
It can, but I just don't have confidence in it because the thing can get tangled up with all the treble hooks and stuff.
I've heard of guys doing it on a Carolina rig.
You can do it. Yeah.
Carolina rigs, I know some guys that will pull them like that. I ain't heard it on drop shot. Well, wait, what? How does it? Are you doing good with it? So, Grant Sasky says he's going after them with a prop bait. Christopher Brown says Carter's used to have lamprey eels back in the day. That's true. And Ron said he's seen them in Weiss. So that's interesting. Now, David Weaver says we found him one day when turkey hunting. Small group on 50 or so. And we looked up, and sure enough, it was a lamprey, nothing like the ones up north. Wait, what? Says that's money. Doing a hard bait on a drop shot.
Well, I guess I know what I'll be doing this year.
You think that's it?
I'm just going to try it.
You're going to try it?
Try it.
So what do you like throwing on your drop shot? Nick, when you drop, do you like, first of all, do you like the drop shot?
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Texas guy on a drop shot. What do you normally throw?
Usually a robo worm, 4.5 inch robo worm. Yeah, I've caught more 30-pound sacks on Lake Fork on a 4.5 inch robo worm than any other bait.
How about that? How about that?
Wow.
Now, you couldn't keep up with anybody, but I'm sure you got some friends that were on the elites fishing it. Were any of them guys drop shotting?
Oh yeah,
last week
there were several of them. Yeah, some of them were throwing one on bed. Some of them were pitching at them at the fish out there that they were chasing around a little bit, but they miss a lot. Them guys miss a lot. It's amazing when you look and they post where the guys are out on the water, the amount of areas that are really good areas that those guys just haven't found yet, don't hit. We just sit back and hope that they don't, because when they do find something, it just destroys it. So, I mean, after that, it's no good because everybody sees it. And then, I mean, people got to understand Lake Fork's parking lots are generally full from the 1st of February till the first month of June when it's hot. There's usually not even room to park. I mean, it's just thousands of fishermen. So
that makes sense. So what you're saying is, so we can clarify, none of the elite pros called you for information about the drop shot.
No.
Listen, I wanted to give some of those YouTube guys some extra, content material right there. He didn't. It would have been funny as hell if he went, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
You heard it here first.
You know, it's funny when they come to town out there. When you know, I was there when they were there, but I don't go out and visit with any of them. I don't go out to dinner with any of them. I don't hang out with any of them, and I just do it on purpose so that there's none of that. See you with somebody local and what they talking about. I don't ever want to have that. I don't ever want to compromise what they're doing, especially
Oh,
as
for sure.
stiff as Bass has been this year. I really, you know, most of those guys would probably love to have my trails and know where to run around out there on that lake because
Yeah.
I can run every pocket front to back, the entire lake and save so much time. But they'd be more interested in that in my fishing spots. I promise you.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. Let's see. I'm trying to look at that. Lanier has that issue also, but it's with wake boats and jet skis and pleasure boaters and all that. I get that. Now, Wait What says we're back to that Rapala on a drop shot. He said it's his first year doing it. They're whacking it, and he uses a loop knot. Okay, that's pretty interesting. And also, since we talked about that, you guys, you know, you're fishing what, Douglas?
Yes.
That's your next tournament. So we can't talk about
Yeah.
Douglas tonight, guys. So don't bring it up in the comment section or anything like that. I don't want to get nobody in trouble on this show. I could see Fuller.
please.
I'd get a phone call from Fuller, and I don't need that phone call. Yeah, I've had one of them from him before. We don't want to do that. Speaking of which, our question of the night has to do with Brad Fuller, NPFL president. So you guys stay tuned for that.
Do you guys fish Lake Fork at night by chance?
At night,
Yeah, I did it once when I was young and stupid.
I bet he has.
Broke a windshield. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely the best at night. Some of the best night fishing out there is December and January.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
we fish the lights out there, and you can go out and catch 7 to 9.5 pounders on the regular. It's pretty much an every night thing.
That lake is stupid good.
Yeah.
I mean, just
There used to be a guy from Springfield, Missouri that would go down there around mid-February and fish at night. And he literally brought back big fish for like aquariums at Bass Pro and stuff like that back. You're talking the 90s. But night fishing there is just as long as you know where you're going.
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, because the day's enough craziness as it is. But night fishing that would be a fun lake to fish.
Oh, I bet. Hell, it'd be a fun lake to fish anytime. Father Time is in the house, guys. Huh?
Oh no, I was gonna say you have to have a trolling motor budget if you're gonna fish that lake at night. So because all the stumps breaking trolling motors.
Yeah, I would freaking hit every damn stump too, no matter what.
You make sure you take a spare.
Oh, for sure. So Kevin's in the house. I want to say, Kevin, good seeing you. For those of you that want to know where Kevin's at, he had a couple of surgeries. You know, he's getting old. He's got to have that stuff. He's going to be bionic Kevin and all that. And he'll be back on the show eventually. But Kevin, do not treat Miss Terry wrong, or I'm going to come whip that ass. Okay. So you make sure you treat that woman and you listen to her and you do everything she says to do. Okay. I don't want no phone calls from you, but appreciate you watching, buddy. And I hope you're doing well. Night fishing on Lake Fork. Our boy is fun. Our boys loved it. I bet. Now, let me ask you this, because the lake's getting pressure now. You said it yourself.
That must be my wife. That's my wife commenting on there under my name.
Where at?
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say that's
Nick
him.
is his wife.
That's his wife.
Hey, you know what? Like, my ass didn't even catch that.
I noticed it earlier, but I didn't say anything. I figured it had to be somebody in his house.
Listen, I did not even catch that. I just thought there was another Nick Brown out there. I was like, well, appreciate you joining us tonight like that. So, but with all the pressure, I feel like a fool sometimes on this show when we do it live. But with all the pressure, and you hear the naysayers talk about pressure and it's ruining lakes and all that, how is Lake Fork able to sustain?
That's my wife making those comments.
Yeah, I know now. I'll make sure I keep I'm gonna be good because his wife's watching now like that. How is Lake Fork sustaining, being able to still put out these good bags, tournament after tournament, year after year, when everybody's fishing it? Because you said yourself the parking lot's full. Oh, his wife's still on there comment like that. But I mean, are you seeing any damage to the lake whatsoever? I say damage, or downturn or whatever with all the pressure.
I think we got a major delay.
We got a delay going on now. Hey, can you hear us, Nick? Shoot him a text and say we can't hear you. We got a delay
Yeah.
going on.
Maggie Valley's a tough spot. So
Where? Oh, Maggie Valley.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's laughing his ass off. I don't even know if he can hear us. Can you hear us? Yeah, he can't hear us. Shoot him a text right
Yeah,
there. We're getting
working on
talking.
He might have to hotspot it or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So he is in Maggie Valley getting
Yeah.
ready for all that stuff. So we'll keep talking until we get him back, get his mic back on, because he's probably going, man, he's talking a long time and not asking me any questions.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag, so I don't know how. Yeah.
Okay, so I finally can hear you now. So yeah, you do got a lag. My question, can you hear me good now?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So Howard can't hear me?
No. Am I still coming through okay?
Your stuff's coming through now, and I don't think you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, because I had a question about Lake
I'm
Fork.
gonna jump off and come back on.
Okay, perfect. So, he's talking about that lake, and even though a lot of people say they don't like watching the elites now because it's all forward-facing sonar and you had the people blasting all that, I don't care how you're doing it. When you're watching guys reel in 7-8 pounders consistently, it made for some really good TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
And any of the last couple tournaments have really been, you can catch them 5-6 different ways. They don't have to use forward facing for everything. But now there's a lot of guys that have flipped that transducer this way instead of this way.
Yeah.
And you're seeing them pick up on stuff like that. And we've actually done that on Lanier when the herring are schooling and all that stuff. And you can watch how those spots feed on them. And just take your transducer from this and go like that. And get out on one of those shoal points and watch what happens. It's just fun to watch.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's a blast.
David Weaver says, I thought forward-facing sonar causes cancer. Well, if you hear the right person saying it, it does. It does. And I'm not going to say any names, but I don't have to like that.
But we're 2 weeks away. I mean, it can be now. It all depends on this weather. I joke around with like every fishing tip should start with it depends. Because of the weather, water levels, what they're doing with the dam, everything else. But we're real close to a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
On Lanier. So
did you? Okay. So,
heck, I caught that 6.5 in a pond the other day, just throwing a buzz bait around for fun.
Yeah, you said, all right. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, let's try that. Is that any better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, we can hear you now. Sorry about that. My question to you was Lake Fork, with all the pressure that it's got, and you were talking about the parking lots being full and everything. Do you see any, I didn't see it, any downturn because of all the pressure, or how does Lake Fork keep putting out monster bags and, big bass?
16 to 24 inch size limit is the key. You can only keep fish up to 16 inches and over 24 inches. Between that and the Texas Parks and Wildlife, abundance of food. Fork is not really a recreation lake. You don't see no wakeboards. You don't see no jet skis. It's bass fishermen or bass fishing.
That must be the lie.
That's it. Yeah, it's got to be. When he said no wakeboards right there, he had my attention. That's, I don't know how often you fish Lake Lanier, but pretty much from here on out, the rest of the summer, unless you're fishing at night, you got to deal with that. So
you have none of that out there. There's no skiers out there whatsoever.
I like that right there.
Love it.
You got a question?
No, I don't. I seen the guy asking about Logan Martin, but I know they got a tournament coming up. Are we okay to answer that, or? I don't know how that rule works. Nick, are you okay to answer a question on Logan Martin, or?
I can answer a question on Logan Martin. I just can't get any information.
I got you.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
so good.
Well, if they answer the question, would they be giving information?
Yeah. Okay. So what Yard said was, he goes, decided on a black buzzbait for the morning bite at Logan Martin this weekend. Would you go with something else?
Probably not. I literally just won Lake of the Ozarks with a buzzbait. It is my favorite top water bait. So yeah, 100%. I'd have that rowdy buzzbait tied on with a toad on it, either black or white, depending on what the cloud cover or sunshine was. I just want something that contradicts what the sky is, so they get a good view of it. But I'd be throwing that thing on the bank and getting bid. It's a great time of year for a buzzbait.
So he said black buzzbait. You said black and white, and you said depending on. When would you throw the black and when would you throw the white?
So if you got light color, I don't want my bait to blend in with the sky. I want it to be a little bit, I like black on a clear sunny day. I like black when it's the white clouds. I like white when it's early in the morning. And I also like a white toad when it's the super dark clouds, like gonna rain, getting ready to storm right before a front. And then the next thing would be if you got real fertile water system and you got that kind of green, emerald green water, my next choice would be a bubblegum colored toad on there.
Bubblegum.
Yep.
That doesn't get thrown around here very often. We throw bubblegum flukes and trickworms during a certain time of year.
Yeah.
Very interesting right there. So we got to wait. What we have a guy up here, Dana Smith. He has FCP fishing. What this guy does on Lake Lanier is he takes a bucktail jig, which, guys, it's really a walleye jig that he brought from Oklahoma. Who knew they had? I think it's Oklahoma. But he throws this jig out across a rocky point or something like that. And what he'll do is he'll let it sink to the bottom. He'll pop it up 3 times, let it sink. Pop it up 3 times, let it sink. And he's doing it with a bucktail, and sometimes he'll do it with a fluke. Do you ever do anything like that with a bucktail or any other bait?
I do that, but I use a football jig. We call it stroking a jig. Used to be really popular back in the day on Kentucky Lake and Barkley. That's how we used to catch the ledge fish, even before the XD crankbaits and stuff come out.
Yeah, stroking a jig.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite sayings in all of fishing. Stroking a jig. Listen, hey, got to get that adult humor in there somewhere. John G. Wilson, do y'all like those twin blade buzz baits? I do. I like the accent one. When you throw your buzz baits, I heard you mention a company or a brand. What kind of buzz baits are you throwing, and are they single blade, double blade? What you doing?
I primarily throw a single buzz bait, whether it's a clacker or a squeaker or whatever. I don't know. I like my buzz baits loud. I think the squeakier and the louder they are, the better. If the bait's small, I'll throw a smaller version. I'll throw like the smaller rowdy buzz bait with a like a Kitech on it, or maybe a strike cream mini scrub, something like that. And then of course I throw a horny toad on the half ouncers and the bigger ones. The big dual buzz baits, only time I've really had a bang up day throwing those things is a day that it was just absolutely torrential downpour. And it was like the only thing that stood out on the surface. The regular buzz bait was just getting drowned out. And that double, it had double gold blades on it. And I think between the flash and all the commotion, it was enough for him to find it.
You know what's pretty cool about what he said? We've talked about buzz baits a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm. Too much.
Yeah, I know you don't like us talking about buzz baits. Guys, you need to be throwing a buzz bait. But what Nick said was kind of interesting. He's the only guest we've ever had that mentioned contrasting the color buzz bait with the sky. Mm-hmm. Most everybody talks about the noise.
Right.
And maybe, bending your buzz bait like Dave does down a little bit to get it right. Nobody has ever said anything about contrasting it with the sky above, which I find pretty interesting.
I do the same. It's the same scenario with my frogs too. It's always, I throw 2 colors of frogs, and it does not make a difference in the world where you're at. I don't think. I think all of it is contrasted, whether they're eating it or they're missing it. And you can make that decision about how many of them boil on it, and you set the hook and you come back with nothing, and you just change the color once and watch what happens.
What are you over there looking like he's telling a secret for there, Ken?
I'm just learning.
You're learning my ass. He's over there.
I ain't even giving you all the juice. I'm just giving you some decent stuff.
Well, hey, give us the juice. Listen, I understand. Hey, just anything we can get out of you guys is always a plus. But now David Weaver says we're going to go down the rabbit hole. What about a whopper plopper? Now, everybody that watches this program knows I can't stand them baits. What about you? Do you throw a Chapo or a whopper plopper any? I just go with a buzz bait.
Not if I don't have to. I don't care for it. I don't like treble hook baits that much. I mean, I love a spook. I throw a saltwater spook most of the time because they make the best bone colored one. I mean, the saltwater spook is everybody knows that already.
Yeah, but we were talking about saltwater spooks before the show. Now, I'm not gonna give away Ken's color. Unless
I got multiple colors.
you got
but
multiple colors.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get one right there. That's
That's
it.
it. Bud. That's it.
Yeah. Well, Ken's was a little pinkish.
Oh,
I just do that so you can. You're
mainly bone.
mainly
chrome,
bone. I'm trying
But
to.
there are certain lakes,
He's-
let's say like a
he's gonna kill
Table
me.
Rock, where for whatever reason pink works. I can't,
He's
but it's pink and chrome. Just so you know, it's not. It ain't all pink spook. Okay.
it's only got a little pink in
He's
it.
gonna beat the shit out of me after the show. Like, Danny, what happens before the show is before the show. I just did that so I get you to smile.
I got you.
Yeah, I love you. This is so much fun. He's not gonna come back. Atlanta Outdoors says I fish hair jigs the same way. Tennessee two-stroke is what I learned the technique. Works with flukes on the jig head too. So let's see.
I'm gonna help Dave out real quick. Logan Martin,
Yeah.
get out there before the sun comes up and throw a single spin nighttime spinner bait on the river grass.
Colorado blade.
Single Colorado blade before the sun ever comes up. And as long as there's current moving, throw that single spin spinner bait like you're night fishing.
I can
Right
tell you're
before
from
the sun comes
Missouri.
Hang
Who the hell says single spin?
single spin Colorado. I got to clarify for a show. We ain't in my garage.
Yeah.
But then you can switch over to that buzz bait and get back in some of that fun water and go as shallow as you can go. Because Logan Martin, that water can be 85 degrees. They don't care. That lake is different when it comes to shallow water.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to do the question of the night. But when we come back, Nick, from the question of the night, I want to talk about when the water gets hot. Because even though we're going to be in the 40s here in North Georgia next week, low 40s at night, it's still going to be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting warm for a couple of days, and we're going to go back. Next week's supposed to be cold, but it will be eventually that water is going to be, 80s and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to prepare people for it. So if you can think about that, I'm going to do the question of the night. But when we get back, I want to talk about that because that's going to be on us before you know it, if you don't
Yep.
mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
come on.
All right, so let's go ahead and do our question night, which is always brought to you by Serve IT. Guys, if your company, big or small, is looking for a one-stop, I'm just smiling at you, looking at me over there like you're going to kill me during this thing. A one-stop comprehensive IT solution. Serve IT is the company for you. Whether your company's big or small, it does not matter. But if you want a company that will handle it 100% and get your problem solved when and if they pop up, Serve IT is the company for you. Go check them out at serveit.com. And if you're looking for a change in your career and you got the right attitude, customer service oriented, and you talk well with people, they can teach you IT. But they're looking for people with the right go-getting attitude to come on board with them. So when you're on serveit.com, check out their career services, and we appreciate them sponsoring the question tonight, which you're going to get tonight since top water. We might get into some top water too. Going to give you an Outlaw by Arc. So it is a bone color. Bone color. It's not pink like the one that you like to throw, but the question of the night, 3 answers. Got to have all 3. I tell you this every single episode. Don't put one and help out somebody else. And it's about Brad Fuller, who is the president of the National Professional Fishing League. So you guys ready? You ready back there, Tony?
Gotcha.
All right. Brad Fuller, NPFL president, served in the armed forces, and we appreciate his service. Here's the questions. What branch did he serve in? What specific airplane was he involved with? And what did Brad's dad do for a living? Those are your 3 questions. What branch of service did Brad Fuller, NPFL president, serve in? What specific airplane was he involved with? And what did Brad's dad do for a living? First one to get all 3 of those, I'm going to be sending you this Arc Outlaw right there. What are you smiling at?
So when we were at the Classic, I had actually a guy walk up to me in front of and with Hank Cherry and everybody sitting there. And I used to make stuff up. Like when somebody would ask me, hey, what are they biting on? I literally said Carolina rig a pink spook 25 years ago. And either of this man out of nowhere walked up to me and asked if I was still Carolina rigging a pink spook.
Did he really?
So when you guys say, are you throwing a pink spook? I'm like, I cannot kill this thing for no reason.
Darian Moss, I need the specific model airplane.
But,
That was the question. What specific airplane was he involved with? So, guys, look at Darian Moss. He gave you 2 out of 3. Jump on it. Give me that airplane. What's up, Farmer? You know the answers, right?
Yep. I got
Okay,
you.
so you got that. So we're going to keep talking to somebody actually wins this. But, Darian, you're close. And I think you chat GPT everything. like that. You're always so quick. So, all right, I kind of mentioned Nick right before. We're in this post-spawn funk. We're going to be fishing. You mentioned going to brush piles and stuff like that. But when the water starts really getting hot, I want to prepare our viewers for that. Kind of go ahead and get it in their mindset. What are you looking at? I mean, what would first be, and Ken, I'll let you do this. Let's give them a temp kind of range.
Let's go 74 and above.
74 and above. You get on a lake, 74 or above. What is Nick Brown doing?
74 and above. 74 and above. I'm probably still shad spawning at 74. When we get into the 80s, I'm probably going to look see where the thermocline is. You know, in Texas, once June and July hits, that thermocline, it'll set in shallow. I'm talking like, and a lot of lakes around the country, depending on what the water looks like, it could be 12 foot, it could be 22 foot. So everybody wants to go out and fish super deep in the summertime and fish in 30 and 40 feet of water. But if the thermocline's not there, I mean, you need to stay above it. So, I mean, I'm going to be drop shotting and minnowing and cranking and spooning and doing stuff like that on trees. But I'm going to start the morning out throwing topwater right on the bank, because bass always live shallow. I don't care where you're at. There's always some fish up there as long as there's some bait and that and shade, you know, docks, shade, overhanging trees, rivers, water, inlets, anywhere there's any kind of moving water, you know, and you don't get a shad spawn or you don't get a thermocline most of the time on moving water if you're on a lake that's got some water moving through it, or if you're on a river system. So, but at that point, that's totally different. You know, you're fishing currents and holes and eddies and stuff like that. So,
yeah. Far Dog, I'll get to your question here in a second. Guys, you're really good. You just don't have the specific airplane model. And since Kevin is watching, I really want to set him off. If you go to the NPFL website, it will tell you the specific model in his bio, because this has to do with special forces. And I'm going to give you another hint. It's got props. Is that good enough?
That's perfect.
Perfect. It's got props.
Can't narrow it down more than that.
I can't really say any much more. Right? I mean, there's not another hint I can give you guys.
Pretty much.
So anyway, all right. You keep saying drop shot, and you said you love it.
Mm-hmm.
How much time are you casting your drop shot as opposed to going vertical? Or do you even go vertical whatsoever? Host David Weaver.
If I'm up on if I'm in smallmouth lakes, I'm casting it at rock piles and stuff like that. If I'm on a lot of the lakes in Texas with cover trees and stuff like that, I'm pitching it like you would a jig up on the bank. I mean, I'm pitching it to cover. I'm pitching it to dock poles. I'm pitching it wherever. And if I'm scoping, I'm throwing it out in front of them and watching them chase it either to the bottom or catch it before it gets to the thermocline.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Now, we do have a winner. Go up one.
Oh.
Yep, go up one. Neil Scoggins.
My bad.
My buddy Neil Scoggins. Brad Fuller was in the Air Force. The specific plane that he was involved with when he switched over to Special Forces was an AC-130, and his dad was a coal miner.
Well, wait a minute. Neil's he got the C-130. He doesn't have a C-130.
Oh.
Chris Bowers has the AC-130 in it.
Oh, well, hell, I'll send it to both of them.
All right.
Neil and Chris. Since I said Neil won, I can't take it away from him now. But all right, so Chris Bowers, he does have AC-130. So I'm going to give it to both. I'll give both of you guys one. So Neil and Chris, make sure you send on Facebook, send me your address, and I'll make sure I get that. Gone fishing with Ed was a little bit too slow. You were. Yep. You know what? I don't know anybody other than him whose dad was a coal miner. That's pretty interesting. Yeah. And don't make Brad mad. I know that. Brad Fuller's a good dude. He's a very good dude. Him, Paul, all that. So pretty cool. And again, Brad, if you do ever watch this down the line, thank you for your service right there.
And I'm not sure what Jim Wright's doing, but he's got Air Wacky and then Puff is in there. I know what Puff is. I know he's Puff the Magic Dragon's what he's thinking.
Is that what it is? Like that. So
yeah.
Darian Moss said Loretta Lynn. I have no idea what the hell that means.
Coal miner's daughter, coal miner's son.
Oh, yeah. Well, Loretta Lynn don't count. I'm talking about people like that ain't famous, but she is actually was Dolly Parton's dad a coal miner?
I don't know. No
idea.
Hey,
Dolly Parton's dad did some good work though. He did some good work. Anyway, what? Go ahead.
Fire Dog.
Far Dog. Oh yeah, I got Far. Okay, so listen, real quick, we're gonna get back to the hot stuff. But Far Dog lives in Oklahoma. I get sidetracked. I had Dolly Parton. I got sidetracked
You and Al.
for obvious reasons. All right, so he lives in Oklahoma. He's going to Hartwell, and I guess his question was, what should he be throwing? So you fished Hartwell. If you were going next week, what would you be doing?
Yeah, I'd be throwing any chrome top water on and running as many of them points and shallow red clay banks as I could. Then I'd switch up to probably pulling a fluke around.
Pulling the fluke around. Good choices on Hartwell.
Mhm.
That's solid.
Yep.
Man can catch a lot of fish doing just those two things right there.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff right there. Now back to the drop shot. Okay. I want to listen. I'm learning right here, just like everybody else is. I'm paying attention to what this man said. Now, you're casting it like a jig, right? You said that?
Yep.
Thermocline, you said sets up. So when you do cast it and you're watching them on your scope go down, once it gets below the thermocline, I'm just curious of how the fish react to it. Do they just turn automatically, or do you ever have them just follow it down even past that?
No. 2 feet before they hit that thermocline, they will throw the brakes on like you pulled a parachute on them.
That's pretty interesting.
They're not swimming past it. I scope around out there and look for little wolf packs 2 to 20, and they'll be in little groups, and you just pitch it out there in front of them, and they'll race over there and fight for it. They've been doing that since 20 or 21 when I started using it.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. We talk about the thermocline, but we don't ever really talk about what the fish do when they're chasing the bait down.
Yeah.
So he's saying they put the brakes on.
So like on those big trees on fork, like you hear power shot and you hear all these other, do you ever use big line on the drop shot?
Oh, good question.
I don't. I've got some guide buddies out there that do, that are really good with it. They've got big hook sets, and that's just the way they fish. Yeah, I'm still just I don't throw any. I still throw like a 12-pound leader out there, but
Okay.
I don't like power shotting, because if you watch those fish and say they're down there 10, 12 foot deep, and you pitch that bait over there, and if you got more than like a 3/16 ounce weight on there, as soon as that weight hits the water, you can almost see them stop, look up, realize what happened, and they'll a lot of times turn and head the other direction. They'll react to that bait hitting the water. Now, like the spotted bass on Lanier and that, sometimes they'll react to it and go to it. Fork, a lot of times, as soon as they see that or you throw it over their head, I mean, they're gonzo. That's it. They're out.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And is that because it's more how a largemouth reacts to it as opposed to a spot? Because spots are just stupid. They're aggressive and they'll go after anything. You think that's kind of like a largemouth reaction to it?
No, I think because there's 2,000 boats a day out there doing the exact same thing, and they're educated.
They're like, damn, where have we seen this one before? Right there. So, first of all, Far Dog Darian Moss says, don't come to Hartwell. There ain't no fish there. I don't think you're telling the truth, Darian, to be honest with you right there. Gone Fishing with Ed is fishing no wake only spot on Lanier soon. What would you fish morning then noon? Is there really a no wake only spot on Lanier?
I don't know.
I mean, that whole lake wakes, but I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
So
Is he fishing under the bridges, or?
that might be, yeah. I mean,
Back a 6 mile.
back a 6 mile.
Yeah.
Hey, Gone Fishing, for us to answer that question, tell us exactly where you're fishing. First of all, we want to know where the no wake only is. But all right,
Or
so-
maybe not.
or maybe not. Yeah. But
Just don't go too far back.
let's just say you get a no wake zone on there. You're down there, Nick. What are you throwing first thing in the morning? And let's say it's going to be next couple of weeks. What are you going to start with on something like that?
On Lanier?
Yeah. I mean, top water, right?
I'm going to throw the same thing I'm going to throw at Hartwell. I mean, it's spotted bass, and they're going to be chasing herring and schooling. I mean, the guys that, when the elites were just there, 2 weeks ago? I mean, how close were they to just missing a really good offshore whacking?
Yeah. So, okay. So he's fishing the electric only tournament.
Okay.
So I'm that's
Yeah.
not my specialty, but that's what I do. Like we're supposed to be fishing out of Toto this weekend. I mean, you gotta go top water, start off early in the morning. I think that's what you said you do. I would throw a buzz bait
Toto. Yeah.
at Toto because it's more largemouth up there.
Back a Toto.
Back at Toto. So throw a buzz bait
water.
early and then you got to throw a wacky worm. That's the only thing we're catching
There's
fish on.
that concrete walkway in the back of Toto on the right.
Oh yeah.
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 That's a good spot.
It is. Let's see, yard. Okay, so here's a question back about.
Oh,
What's that?
Okay, let's talk about what you got in your hands right there.
So I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, Mark Pack, he was kind of a legend out there at Lake Fork, but he come up with this impact shad, and this impact shad on a scrounger head is probably going to be after the fluke and the top water deal, just running that on a scrounger head and slow reeling it. But
I love scroungers.
yeah, that color's Houdini, but it's got that unique. You can see that unique split right there in the back of the tail.
Look at
I don't know
that.
if you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it good.
Yeah, it makes it really wags good. People just forgot about these. I don't understand why. This is one of the best, like, quarter ounce or half ounce weight Carolina rig on a shad spot. If you ain't throwing that on a shad spot on a Carolina rig, once they go down and they quit eating the top water bait, yeah, you're definitely missing out. But yeah, that thing's legit.
What's that called again?
This is the Mark Pack. It's called an impact shad. M and then PACK. And there's
Wow,
yeah,
look at that.
Mark's gone, but there's a guy that's still making them. That the only place I ever see them still is all around at all the Lake Fork tackle shops. I think you can still probably get them online. They used to carry them at BPS and some other places, but they're just super unique. I can't believe more guys haven't copied that thing. But I mean, he was the original guy to throw that. He makes a big one too. That he used to just throw these out there and count them down in the trees, 10, 12 foot, and catch those suspended fish before we ever did the spotted bass thing. Or not, I mean, the live scoping.
What are you looking up there, Tony?
Tackle Warehouse has them. At least when you Google it, it comes up with their website. It shows it. Yeah, it shows it on there. Impact lure shad soft jerkbait.
I'm telling you, like, I haven't seen one of them.
Yeah, I mean,
look at that. And he said put it on a scrounger. I love throwing a scrounger. Nobody throws a scrounger much around, or other people do, but not near enough. You throw a scrounger?
That's as juicy as you're going to get from me right there.
Hey, listen. And that's enough. That's worth the episode, just seeing that thing. Because the way he's got that little cut in the back, I could see that with the wobble of a scrounger and that tail just do like that.
Yeah, I can't even hold it still. I mean, it's just constantly moving. You don't even have to shake it. I'm just holding it completely still, but it just constantly quivers.
That's a badass looking bait.
Yeah.
No, I get. Yeah, it catches them on Lanier and down there too. I mean, when I'm down there, that's usually what I use. I'm not a big fluke guy. You know, I throw a fluke and a bigger fluke for certain things, but that's probably the next. That's probably the next best thing.
All right, so you brought out a bait, and I got questions. Darian Moss wants to know 5 or 7 inch, and what's the best colors?
5 inch, and I would say Houdini, and then Disco Violet.
Oh, Disco Violet. So that's probably got to be similar to Zoom's Disco Violet. Got that purple in it. You can't go wrong on Lake Lanier.
Yeah, this one's Houdini. It's a little smoke on the back and got some red in it, and then it's got some copper and a little white on the belly. You can kind of see that copper in there shimmering just a little bit, but it's just so milky, and just you put it in the water and it's just subtle. Yeah, they eat it.
He said milky. That's a good way to describe a bait. I ain't heard milky yet like that. Milky. Hey, what was that bait he was talking about? That milky one? Yeah, that milky one. You mentioned it on the back of a Carolina rig too, right? Because I know you said scrounger, and I love scroungers, but you just same thing you would do with like a Cinco or something on a Carolina?
So 3/8 a half ounce barrel tungsten weight on a Carolina rig with about, I don't know, 24 to 30 inches a leader, and then a 3/0 or 4/0 straight chain cook. You just don't want to get past the initial section. You want to stay in the first section of it, and you throw that thing up there. Most of the time, you don't even get to move it. You throw it up there in a foot of water when they kind of go down on them bars before you even get a chance to pull it. That thing's already going to be tightening up, going the other direction. It doesn't even do much when you pull it on a Carolina rig. It falls and floats super slow. So
I love it right there. We learned something tonight. So everybody's going to be checking out that bait. Now, somebody said Tackle Warehouse has disco green, no disco violet. I will tell you this, when it comes to the Zoom flukes on Lake Lanier, we probably sell 3-to-1 disco green over disco violet. But a lot of guys will throw that when it's sunny. When they're sunny, they'll pull out that disco green. I love disco violet too. It's a good color. I personally think if you're on Lake Lanier, you should have some purple in anything, but he's pulling out another bait.
Yeah, it's gonna be in that. It's gonna be in that bag, but that's the disco. Actually, this one's disco green.
Pull it up just a little bit. There you go. Yeah, That's
Nope.
very. Yep, there you go. That right there is money on Lanier. I can tell you right now.
We Dowie too.
We Dowie,
green and the violet.
Disco right there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have
See how
not
that?
seen that bait.
Yeah. I think that's disco violet.
We got to find those things, give them some business. Trey Crenshaw, pull that up right there, a little bit halfway up.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. I'm fishing Toto this weekend as well. Water looks like coffee with too much creamer from all the rain. Throwing chicken rigged and Texas rigged 10-inch 10-inch Yamamoto Senkos in black with blue flake. Now, he mentioned it being, if you watch that Sabine stuff today, it was in a lot of muddy water too. If you go into right now, muddy water, picking colors and stuff like that, are you going with the darker colors? Because you mentioned contrasting and all that, but you held up that thing again. So,
Well, if it's muddy, I mean, if you're going to throw something like this, it needs to be dark. I mean, people don't realize that lateral line has all them little pores with them little hairs in it, and what a fish can feel that we've learned throwing, looking with the live scope and stuff like that. I mean, what we've learned from them fish, just like I said, seeing the bait or throw a Senko out there that's wacky and it's 16 feet deep and you watch that fish come up out of the brush pile before it even gets 2 feet below the surface and head to it. Don't tell me that he can't feel that as soon as it hits the water. They make their living, down there eating everything and finding that stuff in that dirty water. But I don't know if this would be my first choice on a chicken rig or just a swivel, and a hook and this rig. But if the water was a little cleaner, throwing it in the holes and them alligator grass and stuff down there, I mean, 100%, especially down there on the Sabine. I mean, you're looking for little fish and they'll run right over there and suck that thing right up. So
I like a point he just made. I don't think people give enough attention to how sensitive a lateral line is on a bass.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they say, okay, they see it, they can smell it, but the lateral line probably plays as much, if anything, especially in dirtier water.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing.
And even if Toto is brownish color, I've thrown white back there with rattles in it, and you're just appealing to that lateral line.
Yeah.
So I'm still, white or dark or whatever, but put something in there that just tickles the lateral line.
Yeah, I get that. Steven Sturgeon. Neat new take on the Carolina rig. Thanks for the juicy tips. Hey, listen. Hey, and Nick gave it to you right there. So, and I think just showing that bait, what's interesting is you said nobody talks about it anymore. I'm not going to lie. That's the first time I ever seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me, and again, I'm thinking scrounger. Dude, I bet that's wicked on a scrounger, man. How do you fish your scrounger? Just out of curiosity. Because I'll tell you what I like to do on Lanier, Ala tuna like that. I like to throw it, let it get to the bottom, and I tick rocks with it. I like to go slow along the bottom, bouncing it off of rocks. I'm sure you fish it a little bit differently. How do you do it?
I never let it go to the bottom, only because in my mind, unless the fish are crawfish based, I feel like that 90% of the fish out there like to feed up. I think that's why when you're scoping, you keep it above your head. You don't run it into their face, all them little tricks that you learn and that we've learned, that we thought we knew before, and then things have changed a little bit. But I like to throw it and reel it. I mean, I'll reel it through, schooling fish. I'll reel it through, I'll throw it at individual fish busting. I'll just run it down the bank. I'll run it like a spinnerbait around logs. I mean, just whatever, riprap banks, any place you'd run a crankbait. I guess I just get a feel for about how deep I think they are and just try and run it in that depth range.
Part of why I suck and I don't catch no fish, throwing underneath them and all that. But I've caught fish. But I will tell you this. The last time I had a really good day on Ala tuna with it was in the heat of summer. Mm-hmm. I was fishing with Ryan, and he was trying to call them up on topwater and Seville style baits, and we were not getting bit. And I threw it across a point on the bottom and was slow dragging it. And that's when I caught fish. So I guess maybe in the summertime when they're pinned, we were kind of shallow. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm not as dumb as I think I am. You keep mentioning crankbait. You keep mentioning it over and over again. Around here, nobody talks about throwing a crankbait during the summertime. Now, I know you're smiling. We think of that as a rock crawler wintertime thing. So tell me a little bit about your techniques for summertime bass fishing with a crankbait.
You're talking to me or Kim?
I'm talking to you. I don't ask Ken nothing. Listen, Ken's gonna lie to
If
us.
it's got treble hooks on it, I'm gonna make it up.
Yeah, he's gonna lie. He don't like. He is. Yeah, seriously. But you've mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah. I mean, what's a better explanation on how to fish something in the crankbait? I mean, everybody knows how a crankbait runs and knows what the depth it's running or has a pretty good idea with it. But man, I used to be, from the time that the fish left the bank, like at Lake Fork and some of them other places, until August, man, that was my favorite, to go out there and find them schools and graph around and find all them little white, we called them cotton balls, sitting 2 feet off the bottom. And we'd long line crankbaits. Of course, Keith Combs taught us a lot of that. And we used to do a lot of long lining. We used to just do a lot of casting, but it's fun to let that big rod load up. Now, a lot of times in the summertime or in the spring or in the shad spawn, like right now, I'm not a big swim jig guy. I don't know why. I'm not a real big spinnerbait guy either. But I'll throw a big, just like an 8.0 crankbait that's just waking under the surface, or sometimes I'll melt the bills and bend them a little flatter so they won't dive. And just get them to get down there about 6-8 inches and just bulge on the surface, because I like to see the bite. So I steer away from treble hook baits as much as I can, just because of the hookup to loss percentage.
Yeah.
Can you describe long lining?
So long lining would be, say if I idled over a simple tapering point coming out, and I idled over it and I found some fish on there, and say they're at like 22 to 23 foot. Majority of the crankbaits don't for really get down that deep without having the perfect line set up and the X amount of distance and things like that, or a spinning crankbait might. But say like you take a 10XD, we'll go over those fish, and I'll get, if the point is, say, here, I'll get to where I can cast past it, almost a full spool line, almost on top of it. And then I'll continue to turn the boat and go away from that point. And when I get all the way out there till all my line is out, now I'm free spooling on the trolling motor until I get all my line out. Then I'll engage my reel before my last couple, wraps of line come off there, and I'll start cranking. I'll crank the heck out of it until it goes down there, and it'll plow into the bottom, and it gets a reaction bite out of them. You can literally go to Fork in the summertime and still do this to this day, and you can run that crankbait down there. And when people say, "Oh, I can feel them," you could feel them getting out of the way when that crankbait hits, because most of the time it's a soft or maybe a firm, clay bottom. When that crankbait goes down there and plows into the bottom, if there's fish there, everybody's ran a spinnerbait or a chatterbait over a carp's back, and you can feel that wiggle as he gets away, and you're like, "Oh, I just hit a carp with it." You can feel that same thing on the crankbait, but they're largemouth. And you'll sit there and all of a sudden that's why you see a lot of them guys hook them in the back or in the dorsal fin, when they're running a big crankbait. But the whole idea behind it is just really fast reeling and getting a reaction bite and getting it down there deeper than you've ever gotten it before. We do it on 200 and 300 reels. Sometimes you got to stop the boat. Back in the day when we were allowed to long line, and in a lot of tournaments you can't. You got to check the rules.
Right.
But we used to long line. And we use like a 200 or 300 reel, so we get maximum capacity. And you go across there with two guys, a guy in the front and a guy in the back of the boat, a team tournament, and you'd be catching dual 4 to 7 pounders every pass until they're just done. Either you burn them up and then you leave and you go run some other ones, and you come back to them and let them regroup. But it's the best way to get a good reaction bite out of a fish. They used to do it a lot. I mean, remember Kevin Van Dam just burning them big crankbaits on Toledo and burning them on Kentucky Lake. And if you watch Keith, cranking that big crankbait, that dude don't stop. I mean, he's a monster when it comes to cranking that big old crankbait, back to the boat. I watched him out there at Fork. I checked in on the live several times, and that dude the first day was just all day long. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done that before, but once that crankbait gets under the boat and you got to start coming up with it, he don't even pump his rod. He just manhandles that thing all the way to the surface. So
it does take a lot of work. Now, just let me ask you out of curiosity real quick. What's your crankbait setup for summertime fishing? Or it might not even be different from the winter, but what rod, what kind of, speed reel you using?
So if it's a big crankbait like that, it's going to be a 5 or 6 to 1. I use 5 to 6 to 1 primarily on all my crankbaits, and that's just for the gear ratio. So I don't wear, so you don't get wore out all day long. In the wintertime, I like the 5s because they're a little slower and kind of slows me down a little bit. So I'm not fishing stuff too fast, especially like, flat side crankbaits and stuff. And I throw them on a little bit more of a parabolic or softer rod. I throw a lot of times on a 710 Kistler or a KLX rod. They got a combo rod that's meant for big crankbaits, and they got one that runs 7.6 to 7.10, and I'll throw that big crankbait on there just because of the weight of the crankbait on that rebound cast. You don't want to snap that rod off because it'll break 3 feet off the top of the rod. If you go out there with a 10XD and start chucking it around on a medium action rod and it's like a 7.3, you're going to break it before the day's over.
Oh, that makes sense. Brian Davidson, I love your podcast. They are full of great information, great tips. Nick Brown. So there you go. Listen, and Brian, we're just yahoos like you trying to learn as well. I'm listening to everything the guy says. And so if we can all catch some more fish, we're doing something right. Yard said, do what?
I told him, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we appreciate you. Would you throw a 6XD right now?
Absolutely.
What would you be targeting? And let's go from, I want 2 examples of that. Take a Lake Fork area type lake, and then say if you were out here on Hartwell or Lanier, what would you be targeting?
So Lake Fork's a different animal because you got shad spawn up there. We got the shell bars and stuff, and the big shad get up on there on it, and you go up there and crank that 6XD through there. If I was on Sam Rayburn, I'd be running drains to lead into the back. Everybody hears the notorious word drains, chasing them shad to the back of the drains. Or after the shad spawn is done in the morning, following the drains out and fishing them out. Just depends on the depth of the fish. Around here, like a Douglas or something, getting on them 45-degree rock banks and burning that thing in all the way out to 14 foot. Cause I have no idea what's going on up there right now. With that water in that lake looks like it's came up like 8 or 9 feet since we left Norman. So they could be anywhere on that place. And I hear that's a big crankbait lake. So you're liable to see some of that this week and get a little education on that if you watch.
And you guys need to be watching the NPFL for sure. Now, he came back and he said, or Logan Martin. So I guess that's why he specifically wanted to know.
Logan, yeah.
Oh, Logan Martin. What you looking at?
I got one for you.
Go ahead, ask it.
All right, let's say we're in the middle of the summer and you got a spot where there's a bunch of fish stacked up. Do you have like a certain progression? Like you throw a crankbait first, then if they ain't biting that, you switch to a shaky head, or is there a certain series of lures you go through before you leave that spot where they're stacked in there?
If they're stacked in there and I can crash into them with the crankbait and catch them that way, I'm going to do that first. Okay. The very last thing I'm going to do is throw a football jig or something, just because I'm not a huge jig guy. I would drop shop them. I would Nico rig them. I'd Carolina rig them, but it's probably going to be my first 2 choices are going to be a crankbait of multiple different depths, either a 6.8 or 10XD. And then my next thing is probably going to be a Lake Fork spoon or a Nichols spoon. So I like dropping a spoon on them when they're loaded up like that.
He's a spoon guy like that.
That's fun stuff.
But spooning is fun. Now, what you do out there? Tony caught what I was saying.
I knew exactly what
you knew exactly where my mind was. Yeah. So Jonah Fordesha and Cranking and Yanking are just getting on here because they've been out on the pond. You lucky dogs right there. And Bryden Davidson's listening from Kentucky. Hey, I like it. I like it when we get these out of towners right there.
Davidson needs to come down and fish with us. He ain't very far if he's in Kentucky.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Yeah. And that NPFL event. Yeah. That wouldn't be a long drive for you. No. That'd be awesome. So again, this charity tournament for Chad Potit. I said his last name right?
Potit. Yeah.
Potit. Yep. I knew I was off. Next Wednesday, you go on the NPFL website, sign up. You get to fish with the NPFL angler, and it's a great event. And if you can make it, make it. That would be very awesome to fill that whole thing up. Wait, what has a good question for you? Since you're with the NPFL, any tips for traditional fishermen to compete against scopers? That's a tough one, ain't it?
That is a tough one because that animal is always on your shoulder. I love to wacky worm. I love to frog. I love to buzzbait. I love to throw a glide. But when that little animal's on your shoulder and you got Patrick Walters and you got, some of these younger guys, you know, you guys got a bunch of locals down there that are really good. A lot of them elite series guys, and we got some good ones too. But I mean, that little animal on your shoulder all the time going, you're getting your butt kicked because you're up here on the bank and you're doing this and you're trying to get 5 bites a day. I would say you better be fishing for the 5 biggest bites that you can get a day in the best areas. And keep in mind what the scopers have over the guys that are fishing the bank is the fact that they are go, go, go. Their foot never comes off the pedal. They never stop scoping. They never stop chasing them. And they just irritate them and irritate them and irritate them until they get them to bite. You don't have that opportunity to see what you're doing when you're on the bank if you're not scoping. And if you want to compete up there, you need to be throwing bigger baits that are notorious for catching bigger fish, frogs, you know, Cincos, you know, things like that, buzzbait, stuff that produces a big bite, you know, big bulbous crankbaits and or flipping a jig. I mean, those are all notorious things, a chatterbait. But high percentage, I would hit as much high percentage, best looking little points, a brush. If you've got a reed lake, you know, don't go down a flat stretch of reeds. Only fish the inside and outside corners or the tips of them. Just hit the stuff as fast as you can. You can't paw fish and keep up with scopers.
Yeah. So with that, with you saying that, with the NPFL switching to no forward facing this year, did it change your mindset from, because you say you're not against scoping, you got it, you like doing it,
yeah.
But did it change your mindset going into every tournament that I just need 5 quality bites instead of 100 bites a day? You know, did it change your mindset as far as preparing for a tournament?
The last 2 tournaments, I've spent my time looking for what I thought was going to be the biggest, best bite, and only like 5 to 6 bites a day. I haven't gone looking for, let's get a limit of fish in 10 minutes. Cause at Norman, you could have went to any stretch of docks down there leading into a creek and literally pull up there. And every pole you looked at had spotted bass bedding on them. So you could catch, I mean, some guys caught 15 fish off of a dock. I mean, some guys caught 5. You could get a limit off of any one dock down there. Some guys did that. Most of the guys went after the biggest fish that they could find, you know, and spend the most amount of time trying to catch those few big fish.
Did it change you, like, what, you know, because Ken asked you about, you come up to a place, you see it stacked, you said you're going with a crankbait and all that. But with that mindset, did it make any difference between the baits you're throwing this year as opposed to the baits you've thrown in the past?
I think I'm throwing a lot of the same baits this year. I don't feel like this year I've thrown a drop shot as much. I definitely haven't thrown a minnow. I'm not a big minnow guy either. And I hate to say it, but I haven't even put my jerkbait box in the boat yet this year. That's
really?
pretty sorry. Yeah.
I don't know. It's sorry, but it makes sense because you're trying to, this mindset that you got to go with now. Like you said, you're looking for 5 big bites as opposed to numbers. And I guess with the jerkbait, forward facing sonar has kind of changed the jerkbait game a little bit because you can see how they react to it a little bit better.
Yep.
So that makes sense what he's saying. Yeah. Now, David Weaver wants to know, what glide baits do you like to use? Do you like to use glide baits?
I do. My favorite glide bait is made by Tim down there at Scottsboro Tackle. It's the same one I won with last year. And then he also makes he only makes 2 different ones. He makes one that's smooth and one that's got all of them are good, but I favor the bigger one with the scale pattern on it. And then he also is making one that's about an inch and a half, I think, shorter than the original one that I won with last year. It's the junior version of that. It's pretty legit. There's a lot of good ones out there, you know, in your area. I know Kimmel and them guys down there, they run the clutches. They're killer. Out in Oklahoma, we got the bigs. I guess it's just all, you know, kind of what you like. And, you know, Mickey Ellis out there at 316, he makes some of the baddest, you know, baits on the planet as far as glide baits. But I guess it just all depends on what your favorite is and what you feel like you get the most bites in. I think it's all confidence, but one that you can do multiple things with that doesn't roll over. You can speed up, you can slow down, you can, you know, I like a moderate sinking one. I don't like one that runs quite on the surface. I like it to run a foot or 2 deep. I like it. My favorite glides are the ones that run about as deep as the floats are on any dock on any lake. So 95% of the time you see the bite. You know, I do have some that are weighted a little heavier that we scope with, but I'd say a moderate sinking would be what I'd look for. And it don't even have to be painted. I don't even think it matters what color it is
What
on a
rod you
glide.
using?
So I'm using the Kistler makes a what they call a big country, and it's a big heavy rod. It's like 710, but it's extra heavy. It's got a lot of backbone for the bigger glides.
Okay. Now this is a question for me because you mentioned you hadn't even put your jerkbait box in your boat. How often are you switching and changing out depending on lakes? Do you keep like, I'm going to use these at every lake and then just you'll put something specific in, or do you really go through a wholesale, switcheroo between tournaments?
I go through the wholesale switcheroo. When I get to a tournament, if I know I'm just going to be sight fishing and I'm going to be maybe throwing a few top waters or flipping or something a little bit, I'll get all the extra junk out of my boat I don't need. I don't keep anything extra in my boat that I don't have to have. I usually have so when I go into a tournament, like when I head up here to Douglas, I'll have a sample of everything. And once I kind of feel like I know how I'm going to catch them, I take all that stuff out. I double up on everything that I got so I don't run out of baits. And then I stick with, I don't believe you can catch another man's fish. And we talk. I mean, I room with Jesse Wise and Barron Adams, and we talk all day, pretty much every day in practice, and we bounce a lot of ideas off of each other and stuff like that. And usually by the time the tournament comes around, we got a pretty good idea how we can catch some fish. So, and most of the guys that are out there that are rooming and got a house, they're working together. It's you got to keep up. I mean, we got some absolute hammers fishing with us.
He's got a video out that shows he's got a different organization system in his boat.
Yeah.
And how he does it. And I like that. I saw that video again today and I was like,
So when you say you watched it on YouTube?
I just went to his Facebook.
To his Facebook. Okay. I didn't know if you had a YouTube channel where you were putting stuff out like that. Interesting question for you. And if I'd have known you roomed with Barron, I'd have got Barron's butt down here tonight. I should have. Well, is he up there practicing?
No, he's not up there yet. He's going to come up on Sunday morning. I'm actually going to go up. I'm going to go up in the morning. I'm headed to Cherokee in the morning to goof around. I'm going to jump in the BFL up there just for funsies for Saturday.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So here's an interesting question, and it's definitely an opinion. Wait, what? Do you think McKinney, Hamner, Gill, new young guns would still be atop of the leaderboard without forward-facing sonar?
Yes,
I do too.
Yeah, Trey McKinney's got gills. Some people like him, some people don't. But that kid has been fishing his whole life, and I've watched him catch them too many different ways to think that he just has to have a forward-facing sonar to catch him. He's going to catch them. I mean, he grew up. I mean, look how many different people he's gone out with. I think he's gone out with and booked guide trips with about every pro on the planet before he ever even qualified for the elite. So, I mean, he's learned from the best his whole life.
I just find it interesting that a lot of guys take credit away from the young ones just because they are good with forward-facing sonar. You don't get to the elites or that level and not be versatile.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, when we had Cooper Moon in here Tuesday night, talking to that young man before the show, he's a hammer without forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
I mean, just some of the stuff he was telling us about how he was fishing. I won't give his secrets away, but how he was fishing, he wasn't using forward-facing sonar, and he's winning tournaments like it. I mean, these kids are good. I say kids, but young men are good.
Yeah, what is he, 18?
Yeah, he just he graduates high school this week.
Yeah, and I just think a lot of guys take it away from him.
Yeah,
on that thing, and you see it in the comment sections.
Oh, it's all the time.
You always got that one Yahoo who's like, "Well, daddy's money and forward-facing sonar." I don't believe in that crap. Whatever, but anyway. Darian Moss wants to know this. Pull that up. Which one of y'all ordered all the impact shads from Tackle Warehouse? And he's got a damn steamy face. See, listen.
I was going to, but I'm working the boards. I can't do all of it at one time.
Listen, Tackle Warehouse, you owe us a commission or something like that. Now, pull up Cranking and Yanking, right above that. Because he is a buddy of ours.
Yep.
Forward-facing sonar has changed more than just a game. Obviously, I'm not a fan of it, but I ain't no blockhead or whatever they're called. And I get that. But I do think there is a group of people that have grown up with it, and that is all they've known. But I think when you get to the elite level, or to go compete on the NPFL or, MLF, you got to be versatile. I mean, don't you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, take it out on Lanier and just watch when they're schooling. It's just fun to watch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And just watch how those bass react to the what's going on with the herring, and keep your trolling motor on high because they drink Red Bulls, and you'll be in 20 foot of water, then 80 foot of water with your trolling motor. But it's interesting just to watch fish behavior.
Yeah,
and how they attack a school.
Yeah. So Wait What says he respectfully disagrees, and I get that. And listen, that I understand that. Some of the things I think a lot of you guys don't get to see behind the scenes is what these guys are doing in the way they're fishing in other ways, because it's not public and all that. But like with Trey, when we had him on before he was on, I talked to him on the phone about it. It's like he did grow up on all these different. He got to fish all these different kind of lakes. Mm-hmm. Take Brooks Anderson. Yeah. Everybody knows him as a great scoper, but he didn't even have it till he got in college.
Yeah.
So these guys have been fishing all their lives.
Trey grew up not too far from where I did. So
he's a Yankee.
He's been fishing jigs and trees and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I mean, I know we respectfully disagree, and I understand that, but we're saying there would be no more rookies these rookies wouldn't be there, or we're saying that no young people would ever be, come into fishing if we didn't have forward facing. There's going to be new guys entering the leagues. So they're going to adapt to and they get more time on the water than most of us do. So I understand what they're saying, but these guys, they'll figure it out, or they've already figured it out, either one way or the other.
I agree. I can see
those guys have learned. Those kids have learned. Our learning curve. I'm 50. And my learning curve up into 2020, I thought I knew something about bass fishing until I put a live scope on the boat, and then realized that half the stuff I thought, after the spawn and the fall was just like in the fall, for instance. How many of you out there in the fall would go and fish, and you'd be in the middle of a pocket back there, and there'd be some fish schooling in a creek? You'd run over there, you'd throw your top water bait on them, you'd catch one, or they would sound and you wouldn't get bit. And then all of a sudden, 100 yards to your right, there's a school coming up again. And you're thinking, man, there's schools back here everywhere. And now you realize it ain't like that. You go out there now and you realize if you pan around, you could watch that school. That school will move in like 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 100 yards to the right and come back up. We never knew that in the past. We chased those individual bunches and just guessed where we thought they were going to come up. And they were moving and zipping along, chasing that bait and corralling it up. And that's probably the best explanation of a learning of knowing that you think you know what you knew, but you don't. Now, those kids like Trey, he's learned everything. He's had it. He's learned that. But where's he at? I bet he's in the top 20 at the Sabine, and I bet he ain't scoped a fish one down there. Yeah. If he has, it's on perspective, and it's up under some alligator grass or something.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because when my cousin got it for the first time, the first thing he said to me was, I did not realize how fast, and it's on Lanier, how fast spotted bass were and how much they moved. Because we think we see a point and we think those fish are just pinned to a point or something. They could be there one cast, and like you just said, they're 100 yards down the bank by the time you get that. And I mean, they're always constantly moving.
Yeah. Try and catch them. Try and catch more than one out of a bunch. How often does that happen? 1, 2, you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. Now, cranking and yanking, I get it. I like traditional fishing and traditional country music, no forward facing and no hick hop. And listen, I get it. And there's nothing wrong. And that's why the NPFL has got such a strong draw now, because they've gone back to the traditional. But the only thing is, I don't like taking away from them. Now, he does say right above that, I don't doubt these young men can fish, but I don't think that top 10 would be the same without forward facing sonar. And that you might be right.
And
I agree to that.
I don't disagree. I mean, you had some guys but you still had some of the guys that were doing it their way.
Yeah.
At Fork. And then there were some of those guys that were doing it their way and had 8 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it just happened.
I see what you're saying, but I still think when you get, and I don't want to call him generational, but when you get a guy like McKinney who can fish like that, I think he figured it out. Mm-hmm. I've always said Emil Wagner can go out here in the middle of Highway 53 and figure out how to catch a fish. Some people are born with it and some people ain't. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this: do you like the NPFL format? Do you like it better this year without it, or would you like to go back to scoping? If you had your druthers, and take viewership out of it, Just say if you were to go fishing with all the rest of the NPFL guys as it currently sits, would you rather scope or would you rather fish traditional?
I like not having that little devil on my shoulder telling me I need to do it. But I'm going to tell you, I don't feel any different fishing against these guys because, I mean, everybody knows like Patrick's a scoper big time. I mean, he could catch him with that thing, but that boy's got gills. I mean, he literally, I mean, he can catch fish everywhere, anytime, doing anything. I mean, you can't count any of these guys out. So I don't know. I think the competition level is the same. I think the styles of fishing and stuff are just a little bit different. I like not having that devil on my shoulder, thinking I'm getting my butt kicked by somebody out there just, catching floaters and running around. I do miss it when I've got 3 or 4 fish and I know I could go do that and pluck off 1 or 2 keepers and get them in the box. So, I mean, there's good and bads behind it. I would say I'm kind of enjoying it not being on there. Just because I don't think it makes it easier for some of the other guys, but I don't think the fishing is in the competitions any easier. I think it's just as hard as it was last year. I think it's harder.
Yeah, I got that. Do you think Trey is 27th at Sabine right now? Doc Holliday said so. He's 27th, which is basically what 2-3 pounds out of first. I mean, on that end today, because that ain't far.
It's not far.
It's not far. How about this? Do you think? And just say the elites, and we're all being, just thinking. Do you think they should go with a split that they were talking about at one point? Half the tournaments with, half the tournaments without. Do you think that would make people get off Bass's ass a little bit?
From the way I understand it, that's the way that everybody voted for. But we know there's underlying things that change that. And and until they 100%.
Yeah.
But there's things that changed all that once everybody else come out with it, made their decisions, because we come out with it and said we weren't going to have it, and we were the talk of the country. And then it wasn't 5 days, BPT pops out with, MLF pops out with their versions of it.
Right.
So then Bass had to follow suit, but they were all over the board trying to make a decision. So
they were like the way I make love, just all over the place.
I think like all of them say, I think if they did a 50-50 and if they did a 50-50 season and did it totally random, I think it would be awesome to watch. I think it'd be a lot different. The AOI standings would be a lot different. Did
you have a question, Tony?
I got a question for
Nick. All right, throw it on him.
So going to just from a professional level, we get to ask a pro. So let's ask him.
That's right. He's a pro.
When you see a competitor, and it can be any competitor, it doesn't have to be a specific person. What about that competitor do you look at and go, that guy is dangerous on the water? He is the one I got to worry about. Whether it's a technique or whatever it is, when you see your fellow competitors, you go, man, that's the guy that I got to worry. I've got to either match him or I've got to be better than him. What characteristics do you look for?
And I bet you it's lake specific too.
It's lake specific. There's probably something to that comment, because I didn't grow up fishing spotted bass. I'm learning. Majority of our tournaments are on spotted bass fisheries, so I'm learning as I go the last couple of years. I mean, we go out west and we get in the northern strain of largemouth, and we get in the Texas strains of largemouth and Texarkana and stuff out there, and some of us that are out there shine. I do well in all those tournaments. It's just what you know. To be honest with you, it could be intimidating. I think if you let it bother you. These guys are all just other guys that fish. I mean, some of these guys got names and stuff to them. Some of these guys, when you look at them in the morning, they're super focused. To be honest with you, I think you got to worry about the fish. You got to worry about the bite and the fish and what you're going to do. You can't worry about what somebody else might do. If somebody else might beat you to a bed fish, or somebody else, I fished, like, for instance, Norman. Me and Kyle Welcher were fishing the same creek. We were fishing the same bed fish. We had all the same fish marked. I still went and did something different in the mornings because I wanted to go throw a buzzbait because I got some good bites in practice. You know, you don't want to let Kyle Welcher beat you to your fish. And I let him beat me to my fish, and he caught some big fish in the area we were at. That's why he had the biggest sack on the second day, and it came out of the same area off the same, you know, we were fishing the same group of fish. But on the first day, you know, it just wasn't going. But I guess you gotta worry about the fishing and what you think you can do best, because it's really hard to say. I mean, you're looking at Hackney and Swindle and Patrick, and there's some no-name guys out there. I mean, you got Will Harkins can catch him, freaking Timmy Reams. I mean, Barron Adams is an absolute hammer. I mean, Barron's the most, I'm probably going to catch 14 to 16 pounds everywhere in the country as they come. So, you know, Jesse's the same way. You just don't know who you're up against. I think it's whoever looks like they got the most confidence, I guess, would worry me the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I asked that for a reason, because I fish against Welcher in the winter trail, and it's not the fact that it's Welcher pulling up to the ramp. It's the fact that I know that Welcher got to spend days before me on that lake, putting the time in. I don't care what he's doing. I just know that he got to do it more days a week than I did.
Oh yeah,
he's got more experience. He's got more experience, whether he was on that lake or on whatever lake. That dude's fishing as many days a week as he can fish.
Exactly.
So as many days as his wife will let him. You know.
Oh yeah.
So,
pull up old Kurt Wehunt there, my old buddy right there. They found a food that gives you a lifetime of pain and grief after eating it just once. It's called wedding cake. Now listen, Kurt, you just had the wrong cake, buddy. You had the wrong cake. I've been eating the same cake for 30 years now. I could go a long way with that. I'm not going to. Hey, I get what you're saying. Yard. Now, see, here's the thing that when I hear guys fussing about technology, technology is great. I get to sit at the table with pros asking questions I would never get answers to. Hell, I still have to be able to catch them. Appreciate what you all do. And listen, this show is only as good as the guests and the viewers like that. So, and Nick has been very gracious, and we're getting pretty close. And I know he's got to go fishing and all that. So I think with that comment, it'd be a good time to. You
need to plan your trip to Lake Fork with him.
Well, if he'll take me, I'll go with him.
Yeah, come on with it.
We'll talk about that when you get done with your season. That'd be a good FNGO.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on Wednesday when y'all show up there. We're gonna go up there and have a sure enough throwdown on Wednesday.
I'm gonna have to go now.
Yeah.
So I'll wear one of your Tony Collum t-shirts right here. I hate to brag.
Hey, there you go.
But my lure is hung. Gotta get you that. Hey, let's see it. So I'll show the back. Just if you can see it. Can they see it?
Yeah.
Tony, where can someone?
That's awesome. That needs to be a raffle item up there. That thing would go for high dollar.
I don't have many sizes at home, but I've got a couple of them at home. We could send up that way.
Hey, we might do that. We might do that.
That joker could be pink, but I promise you, if they did a raffle, that thing would run it up.
I bet. See, and Tony, where can somebody get your t-shirts at?
If they go to Tony Collum Fishing on any social media platform, my link tree's in there, and you can click on there and order it directly.
He's got some better ones. I can't say all of them on the show, but we can do that. First of all, Nick, seriously, thank you for jumping on. And again, one more time, give me a quick recap on the charity tournament the NPFL is doing next Wednesday.
So, guys, come out, hang out with us May 21st. Get on NPFL's website, their Facebook page, get signed up and come out. It's for a great cause for Chad Potit. And, man, it's going to be a sure enough good time. You'll be able to talk to anybody you want to talk to and anybody that you ever thought you wanted to talk to up there. And it's just a great bunch of guys, and it's going to be a really good time.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So, yeah, guys, do that. And again, if you're from the local area and you're thinking about doing that, hit me up. I'm going to go. So once we get off of the show, I'm going to go sign up. And then I'm going to go up there. And again, I hope I get Patrick Walters so I can wear some skinny shorts. Hey, my ass and Patrick's ass on camera. That right there.
I hope that ain't on
centerfold.
That we don't need that.
Centerfold. Let me hit Brandon Dunford's question real quick before we go. I'm a new Highland Reservoir fisherman like you. I'm learning spotted bass. Did you have an aha moment when learning spotted bass? Brandon wants to know that, Nick.
other than the fact that they're kind of dumb. Yeah. I mean, they're easy to fool, and they will never be in the same place twice.
For sure.
That's a fact.
I always say a spotted bass is a pissed off fish. If you can just get it close to it, he'll hit it. Some, some better than others. But anyway, Nick, seriously, appreciate you being a friend of the show and joining us tonight. And I'll get up there Wednesday, and maybe I'll get to fish with you. We never know. You're gonna draw it out of a hat, right?
That's right. We're gonna draw it out of a hat. So you never know who you're gonna be with, and I've been looking forward to it. And it's been awesome being on the show with you guys. I mean, we've done this a few times, and it's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much.
Wait till you bring 17 wacky rig rods at your boat and see.
Yeah, if I get to fishing with you, our ass is throwing a weightless wacky. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you right now.
Come on with it.
Hey, I'm gonna show it with 2 rods. Both of them gonna have wacky hooks on there.
Yeah.
I just want to get in the boat with somebody. So pretty cool. And listen, we appreciate you more than you know. And do you have a social media that people can follow you on?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, and then Nick Brown Fishing on Facebook. I post some stuff up there, and Ken mentioned some stuff earlier that I did with Ant Marine. Did some inserts and stuff for my new Puma that we come out with for the catalog. But yeah, get on there and check us out. And I'm starting to work on the YouTube fishing page a little bit and getting some stuff put together.
Perfect. And guys are going to be going all over the place trying to find those, what was it, impact shads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you message me or want to friend me in or follow me on Facebook or whatever, I'll answer if you have a message for me. If you can't find them and you want to find them, I can tell you where to find them. So
there you go.
Yeah,
man. Hey, listen, he's just quality. He's going to help you even after the show. And you guys follow Nick, and seriously, Nick, thank you very much for coming on with us. And hopefully I'll see you Wednesday, and then we'll get you back on the show soon. And good luck. It's Douglas.
Yeah.
That's the next event, right?
Yeah. We start practice Sunday. We fish Thursday after our little shindig there on Wednesday.
All right. Well, go kick everybody's asses, but I'll see you Wednesday. I'll see you Wednesday up there if it hasn't sold out. So appreciate you, bud. Be good. And
all right,
guys, listen. Yep. Thank you for joining us, Ken, for coming up. And it's always a pleasure when you're here.
We always have fun.
We almost had fun.
We always have fun.
I think I said we almost had fun. I'm like, damn, dude, you tough crowd. Tony, appreciate you running the boards. And guys, hey, listen, we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode. And I think I'm going to be going to Cherokee Lake next Wednesday. So shop will be closed. But anyway, you guys, hey, if you're on the water this weekend, be safe, number one. If you ain't tournament fishing, you're just going fishing, take a kid. And again, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe or all our social media. Do that stuff. Follow Tony. Ken, we got to get him messing with his social media. You need one. Yeah, like that. So, hey.
Only tip I got is 3 kicks of a tail. A fish can change how you catch it. That's all I got.
Say that one more time.
3 kicks of a tail, and a fish can change how you catch it.
I don't know what in the hell that means, but
a fish can kick its tail 3 times, and you can catch him shallow or you can catch him deep.
That's
all you have
true.
to do is kick that tail.
Oh, I get
times.
what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Guys, y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Appreciate you.